Well, thank you all for joining me today. I think this Empower Her series is really just everything that we are about at Girls in Marketing. And I really wanted to do a session around finding your power and place in the marketing world, because I speak to so many people all of the time that really want to just find the confidence within themselves to be the best marketer, be the best professional and everything that they can be. And we've had a massive uptake with the Empower Her series in particular. I think it is really important to us and our values, and I know that it is really important with International Women's Day tomorrow. We wanted to centre these Empower Her series around International Women's Day specifically. So this session today is all around finding your place and your power in the marketing world. So what does that actually mean? Well, it means a lot of things, and I'm going to cover those all today. Just quickly, a little bit about me. So if you haven't seen my face around before and this is your first time at a webinar, my name is Olivia Hanlon. I am the founder of Girls in Marketing, and I am from lovely, sunny today, Liverpool. Connect with me on LinkedIn if you haven't already. I am born, bred in Liverpool. I'm currently in Liverpool right now. This lovely view that you are seeing is Liverpool. And I started Girls in Marketing back in 2019 as a community initiative to meet new people in my kind of local area, local city. Obviously, the kind of dreaded pandemic happened. And what happened was we seen a lot of people turn to online communities instead. So I kind of really put a lot of work and effort into our digital strategy and grew our community online, which has now meant that we have thousands of marketers across the world, especially across the UK, across the globe, which is crazy. And I never thought that I'd be able to say that back in 2019. If you have been to a Girls in Marketing webinar before, then you don't want to hear my full spiel. I know there will probably be quite a few of you who have been before, but if not, welcome. If you have, welcome back. Just again, quickly, a little bit about who we are. Girls in Marketing is an e-learning platform and community for marketers, and we are on a mission to bridge the digital skills gap and equalise gender seniority in marketing. So essentially, we want to bring women together through community and events, and that's what Girls in Marketing does best. We do events both virtually and in person as well. That's something that we really focused on over the last year, and over the last 2 years doing virtual, and then over the last year trying to incorporate some in-person stuff as well. One of the main aims of our organisation is just to provide women with a safe space to grow their confidence and just become the best version of themselves. So no matter what seniority level or age that you are, we're all here for each other, whether that's our community, whether that's our team, we are all here for you and each other. So just quickly, we do have our Girls in Marketing membership that I wanted to give a quick shout out to. We relaunched this in February to our members, but we actually opened the doors yesterday publicly for people to sign up. It's an accessible learning and community platform for junior to mid-level marketers. And you can sign up. I'm going to talk a little bit more about it, but you can sign up at app.girlsinmarketing.com/sign up. The new platform, we've had amazing feedback about. Myself and the team have been working on this for over 9 months, so basically like a baby. And we have put so much time and work into making this the best platform that it can be. And what's even better is that we are just getting started with this new launch, and we hope to continue to improve it as we go. One big thing that we do is always listen to people within our community, especially within our membership, to improve the platform and improve the learning experience as we improve the whole membership within itself. So you can sign up for $19.99 a month, or it's $2199.99 per year. So that's a little bit cheaper if you want to get it annually. But it's a cancel anytime policy, so it's $19.99, but you can cancel at any time. But we absolutely love everything that we do in regards to the membership, and it is just a really nice place to be. I've genuinely met some amazing people within our membership. We do offer kind of one-to-ones, drop-ins, and I regularly talk with a range of different people about a range of different topics. I'm not going to click that link right now. And just quickly as well, what the membership actually is. Well, the first thing, it's a place to learn. So you can complete courses, learn new skills, you can access our templates, and you can also just kind of support yourself in your current marketing role, or if you're an aspiring marketer, in order to get to that marketing role. And then also it's a place to hear from experts. So whilst we do have some amazing in-house talent, we also work with a range of different experts from a range of different industries. So you have the opportunity to meet and learn from these industry experts at virtual events and in-person events as well. We regularly do webinars every month that we invite industry experts to come in and to chat and to educate everyone. And then the third thing really is a place for community. So you can meet like-minded women in a safe space and get that community advice, whether it's advice from us as a team or whether that's advice as everyone who's getting involved with the community. So into the session, I seen a stat recently which was quite shocking, to be honest. I obviously set Girls in Marketing up back in 2019, and as much as there was an issue then, there is such a growing issue even now, because only 2.8% of companies within the Fortune Global 500 have a female CEO. And 1 in 5 startups have been founded by women. So for every 5 startups, only 1 of them have been founded by women. And regarding kind of managerial positions, women in managerial positions, so like marketing and sales directors, earn around 11% less than their male counterparts. These stats in themselves are not great. There's something that obviously needs to be improved upon. And I think there's 2 sides to the coin, really. So there is your side of the coin in regards to finding your power, finding your place in marketing and doing everything that you can as a woman in the industry to be the best that you can be. But on the flip side of the coin, there's obviously those conversations with bigger companies about internal structures, about increasing diversity within their organizations. So what our aim at Girls in Marketing is to do is to create conversation from both sides. So we obviously speak to people like you all the time regarding marketing and kind of increasing confidence and stuff like that. So we do that from that side, and then we equally have these kind of awkward conversations with businesses as well, helping them to upskill and train their teams and everything like that. But these stats in particular were something that is quite shocking, especially the 2.8% of companies with a female CEO, because that is it generally means what, like not even 10%, 10 companies out of 500. I'm not very good at the maths side of things off the top of my head. But I want to get one thing straight from today. And if you take away anything, there hopefully will be a lot of things for you to take away. But if you take away anything from today, I want you to take away the fact that you are entitled to a seat at the table, no matter how old, how young, what industry you're in, what seniority you are, what gender you are, anything, you are entitled to a seat at the table. And it's about being able to have that confidence sometimes to speak up and to say certain things in certain situations that really allows you to further that confidence and kind of get better at doing these things. As I said, equally everything we talk about today, there is a flip side of the coin to be had with kind of businesses with their internal processes and their internal structures. But today is all about you and learning how you can find your power and your place within marketing. So I found this quote and I thought that it was quite fitting for today. The quote is, "Don't look for motivation, find your why, then no excuses will come between you and your goals." So I think a lot of people think to themselves, I just really need the motivation to do this. I need to try and I need to get through it. But I think the reality is it's about finding your why, because if you're able to find your why, then you essentially don't have any excuses. You understand what you're about. You understand where your passions lie, your thoughts, your feelings, your opinions, and you understand what you're setting out to achieve, which will then mean that you're able to achieve your goals. And I really like this quote in particular, because the first thing I want to talk about is finding your why. So in order to kind of find your place within marketing and within the kind of professional world, you've got to find your why, both professionally and personally. This is a task that I always talk to people about doing in regards to a personal life and a professional life as well. So the first thing is figuring out your values. So your values are that personal code of conduct. There's something that are your core beliefs that guides your actions, your behaviors, your interactions with the world. So your values should be the core of everything that you do from both a personal and a professional setting. And understanding your values, sitting down and really even writing them down, typing them up, understanding your values is a key part of finding your why. And then you have your motivations. So what actually makes you feel compelled to go out and express your why? It gets you excited about work, it gets you excited about your personal life, having without having the kind of pressure of external pressures. So understanding your own motivations. Now, motivations can vary as well as person to person. They can also vary from situation to situation. Equally, your motivations can change over time. So you may find that when you are younger, your motivations are completely different to when you get older. So just as an example, a big motivation for a lot of people is that they want to maybe have a stable income. They want to be able to afford nice things. So their motivation are mainly financial, not necessarily from like a greed perspective, but more from like a security perspective. If their motivations to do and to take and express their why is that they want to feel secure financially, then that's their motivation. So everything that they do will come back down to that motivation in of itself. And understanding that personally is really important because it allows you to realize what opportunities that you should take versus opportunities that you shouldn't take. So for example, if you really value and you're motivated by financial stability, then potentially going freelance isn't the best thing for you. Maybe if you are motivated by being super passionate about a certain industry or something like that, maybe, you know, going freelance is a thing that you would want to do. And I think that being financially stable, potentially you could say, I really want to get a promotion, or I really want to get to a certain level within a company, and that can be your motivation as well. And then you have your passions. So your passions are interests that constantly leave you wanting more. You want to spend more time experiencing them than you currently do. So something that I'm really passionate about, and I would say is one of my passions, is helping people and making an impact on people's lives. And whenever I say that, people kind of cringe and think, oh, that's so, you know, silly. But even from a young age, I've always been really passionate about doing that. And I think obviously now being creating Girls in Marketing and leading Girls in Marketing, it allows me to make that impact on people's lives. But I have been doing that ever since I was younger, with a variety of different projects. I was always into charity work. I was always into doing things that kind of push myself out of my comfort zone in order to create that impact for people. So one of my passions in particular is creating impact. And you can have a range of passions, but understanding them will allow you to find your why. And then the last thing is your strengths. So your strengths encompass your natural abilities, your talents, so both hard skills and soft skills, so like marketable skills and people skills, and they tend to be your kind of natural tendencies for work. So things that you might have a really strong strength, you might have a really good strength, but it's not necessarily your passion. Or you may equally have a really strong value that aligns nicely with your strength. And I think what it's about is really understanding, okay, how do these things match up? How do we create a why that incorporates both values, motivations, passions, and strengths? And understanding your why will come from all of these 4 pillars. So what I would advise for you to do, if you wish to do so, is go away from today and find your why, understand your values, your motivations, your passions, and your strengths, because by doing so, you will find it really is it really gives you that sense of place within yourself and within the marketing world and within the professional setting. So ask yourself these questions when you are writing down these 4 pillars, the values, the motivations, the passions, and the strengths. Ask yourself these questions in particular. If you can't really think of values or motivations off the top of your head, these are things that might get you a little bit more into the groove of things and understanding. So ask yourself, what gets you excited and what can't you stop thinking about? So it could be anything, genuinely, whether it's from a kind of personal sense or a professional sense, because a lot of the time the two can interweave. If you are particularly passionate about a certain maybe you're really passionate about fashion or beauty in a personal sense, and you love doing makeup or you love doing hair, then is there a way that you can incorporate that into your professional career in future? Potentially. So what gets you really excited and what can't you stop thinking about? And then the second thing is there a problem or a challenge that emotionally moves you to take action? So this is related more to kind of motivations and passions. So is there something that you are really passionate about? What is that problem? What is that challenge? And are you emotionally ready to kind of take action from hearing the things that happen within that problem or challenge? And what kind of work would give you a sense of satisfaction and fulfillment? So are there elements of your job at the moment or elements of work that you've done before where you feel really fulfilled, really satisfied? And what does that mean for you? What does that mean for your why? And the fourth thing is, what aspects of your career have you enjoyed across any past work experience? So maybe if you don't have any much direct kind of marketing experience right now, or maybe you do, but you just need to understand, okay, what aspects of your career have you enjoyed and how much of an impact does that have on the kind of wider career that you want to build for yourself? And then the last thing is, what kind of work feels effortless for you, but it drives your curiosity to learn? So as I said before, this is related a lot to the strengths. So what kind of work feels effortless? If it's a strength for you, it will feel quite effortless. So in order to find out your strengths, you want to ask yourself, what can I do? What feels effortless? What am I doing that is a real strength of mine? And then once you understand your why, you'll then feel more confident in your work and your role. And I think understanding your why is really important, as I said, from both the professional and a personal sense. But understanding your why will then allow you to become more confident. Talking about confidence, I want to talk a little bit about confidence, because I think this is something that a lot of people talk about, but it's kind of a bit of a blurred lines. What is confidence? What isn't it? So as a dictionary definition, confidence is a state of being clear-headed, either that a hypothesis or a prediction is correct, or that your chosen course of action is the both best or most effective. So confidence comes from the Latin word, I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce it, but it means to trust. So therefore, having self-confidence is to have trust in oneself. So essentially, whenever you're making decisions within the professional world, it's about saying to yourself, okay, do I trust myself? And if you trust yourself, then you have confidence from within. So I want to talk about how to become more confident in your work, because I think that becoming more confident in work will translate into that element of finding your power. So obviously within this session, we're talking about power and place. Finding your place is very much about finding your why. Finding your power is very much about being confident in your work. So the first thing really is to stop comparing yourself to any co-workers, even friends, for example, because there is a social comparison theory which was created in 1954, and it's a psychological theory, and essentially it talks about the comparison of influence on your self-belief, so confidence, motivation, attitude, everything like that, and this kind of upwards and downwards comparison. which I won't go into now. I did a psychology degree, for anyone who doesn't know. So my psychology brain is going into overdrive right now with social comparison theory. But essentially you have like upwards comparison and downwards comparison, and people tend to compare themselves to people who they see in a better position versus people that they also see in a kind of worse position. And we compare ourselves from both angles. So we say, oh, they're doing better than us. I'm not as good as them. But equally, we also downwards compare ourselves and say, oh, I'm doing better than them. I'm earning more money, or I'm in a better position, or something like that. Both sets of comparison are negative. So they have a negative effect on our belief, our self-belief, our confidence, our motivation, and our attitudes. So even if you might think, oh, downwards comparison, comparing myself to people who I see as maybe not doing as well as me is positive, it's not. It still has a long-term effect on your self-belief. I don't know necessarily why this is. I haven't totally looked into that, but I think that's really interesting, because I think a lot of people think, oh, well, if I compare myself to someone who's not doing as well, I'll feel better about myself. But ultimately, social comparison theory shows that no type of comparison is a positive one. And then the second thing is to record your progress and results regularly. So I would recommend every month writing down your progress, your results, and essentially having that idea of, it leads on to the third point, which is celebrate your wins and reflect on your failures. So noting down the progress that you've made every single month, how far you've come, and then you can look back and you can reflect on those things. Recording your progress is a really good way to feel more confident, because let's say, for example, you are just getting started in the industry, and then maybe a year later down the line, you've recorded your results every single month. You can kind of flick back right to the very start, and you can say, how amazing is it that now, say, for example, a year ago, it took me 4 hours to write an email. Now it only takes me, 20 minutes or something like that. I know that sounds ridiculous, but you're recording your progress and your results regularly, and that allows you to actually see the wins that may be small but are still very, very relevant, which leads me nicely on to celebrate your wins and reflect on your failures. Please don't kick yourself if something hasn't gone your way. There's been plenty of times within my career, and even now within running Girls in Marketing, that we had both wins and failures. And it's really hard to not get yourself down about failures, especially when they come at certain times in your life when you don't really want them to happen. But ultimately, reflecting upon those, how you can improve, how you can move forward, is really important. And it allows you to become more confident, because you're celebrating the things that have gone really well, and you're just reflecting. You're not kicking yourself for not getting a certain promotion, or not doing a campaign the best way, or not getting the results from a strategy that you wanted. You're reflecting and you're saying, what will I do to change going forward? And then you'll feel more confident the next time that you do a strategy or a campaign or anything like that. And the third thing is kind of fluffy, to be honest, but I think that it is very relevant to practice positive self-talk, because negative self-talk can really limit your abilities and lessen your confidence by convincing your subconscious that you can't handle something, that it's too hard, that you shouldn't even try. And I'm sure that some of you will have been in the position before where you say, oh, I really want to do this thing, but I can't, it's too hard, I'm never going to be able to do it. Or maybe a manager gives you a certain task and you think, oh, I really would like to do that, but I've never done it before, I just don't think I can do that right now. That's negative self-talk. If a manager has given you a task or something to do, or if you've been offered a promotion or a new job or something like that, there is someone who believes that you can do that. So practicing positive self-talk is really important. And I would say try to eradicate as much negative self-talk as possible. I know it is difficult, but it really does help you to become more confident. So how can you now then find your power and your place in the marketing world? Well, the first thing is to call out inequalities if and when you can. So whether this is during a meeting or just in the office, if you feel that it's right please call out inequalities. Sometimes you may feel that you need to call out an inequality for yourself, but oftentimes it will be for other people. If you feel confident in work and you are doing well, you understand your why, so you know your values, you know your passions, you know your strengths. Equally, you know, okay, I'm this confident in work, I'm as confident as I can be, or I'm improving my confidence. You can come to the point where you can call out inequalities when and if they happen. Hopefully they don't, but there probably will be a case within your working career where you do have to call out inequalities. I would highly recommend for people to listen to our Girls in Marketing podcast episode with Ruth Hartnell. She did an episode with us last year, and it was around using marketing for good, and she talks about how to conquer this calling out inequalities. It's a really amazing episode. I'll show you it in a second when I kind of go over a few recommendations, but I would definitely recommend listening to the podcast episodes. Amy, our head of marketing, co-hosted the episodes, and I listened to it and I felt quite emotional. I think in regards to the way that Ruth puts herself across, it's a really interesting episode, especially when it comes to finding the power within the workplace to call out those inequalities. And I think what comes with that is the difficult conversations. So it's all well and good me saying, you know, call out inequalities, but how do you actually approach these difficult conversations at work? Having difficult conversations, it will never be easy, but ensuring that you're equipped with the best tools will mean that you're able to make your point really confidently. So the first thing is to be open and to the other person's perspective. Don't ever just shut down and say, no, I'm not listening to their perspective. It's about being open and honest with each other. Another thing is to be empathetic. Always make sure that you are focusing on how the person is feeling in regards to what's going on. You know, if it is an inequality, how that's, you know, happened and how it's kind of progressed. But equally, within the actual conversation itself, you need to focus on facts and not feelings. So rather than going in and saying, you know, you said something in a meeting the other day to a junior colleague, she was really upset about it. I just thought I'd bring it to you and say, you know, you shouldn't have said she's too young or something like that. Instead, you need to focus on the facts and go in and say, you know, I was informed that this is how you've made this person feel. Therefore, I'm saying we can't do that going forward because you know, you use the example that she was too young, she was inexperienced. That's not the case. These are the facts. So you can talk about feelings, but you need to focus on the facts because that allows you to put the point across confidently. And another thing is to set the tone at the start of the conversation. So if you are going into what you perceive as a difficult conversation, make sure that you're setting that tone at the beginning and it's not just a shock to anyone, whether that's a manager or someone in your junior team. And the last thing is just finding a solution. So end the conversation. Don't just end and say, okay, well, that was great. Okay, see you soon. End the conversation and find a solution that works for everyone. Say, okay, going forward, these are the things we're going to put in place, or these are the things that we're going to do to kind of conquer those inequalities or anything that's happened, to kind of approaching that difficult conversation at work. The second thing is to invest in your development. The industry is just forever changing. So in order to be the best marketer that you can, you've got to invest both time and money into your own professional development for both hard and soft skills. So you can complete some free courses and then kind of work out where you want to go from there. A lot of the people's next natural step within our community is obviously our membership, but there is a range of marketing courses that are really interesting on our Girls in Marketing website. So it's just girlsinmarketing.com/marketing courses, and there's a range of different free courses. We're always adding new ones to those, and they're just really interesting to go over if you want to upskill and invest in your professional development from a time perspective. And then when you are ready, you can invest more from a money perspective. A lot of the time, employers will invest for you. So that's always another thing as well. If money is an issue for you, pitching it to your employer to say, can you pay for this training? Can you pay for the Girls in Marketing membership? Can you pay for this certain course? Will really help to overcome that financial barrier. And then all you have to do is invest in your development from a time perspective, which is still obviously a lot of time to complete. And the third thing is to figure out your workplace strengths and weaknesses. So once you know where your strengths are, then you can kind of lean into these and improve on your weaknesses or any gaps in knowledge. So I know I talked before about finding your why and, figuring out your strengths. And you also want to figure out your workplace strengths and weaknesses, because obviously weaknesses can come back to bite you if you aren't able to keep up with those kind of gaps in knowledge. So I would definitely recommend to lean into your strengths, but also kind of improve on the weaknesses. Don't focus too negatively on the weaknesses where you think, oh, I'd really love to do this thing, but I'm not good enough. Don't focus on it in that way. Focus on it from an investment into your development way. So say, I've never done influencer marketing before. Okay, I'm going to invest in some training on influencer marketing, or I'm going to invest in, a course on influencer marketing. So don't get yourself down about your weaknesses. Just make sure that you are improving on them. And to do this, you can do the Richard Step Strengths and Weaknesses Aptitude Test. So this is the RSWAT quiz. Completing this quiz will give you an idea of the workplace things that you may want to improve on and what strengths you can lead into. So this includes kind of, communication, it includes leadership, it also includes some kind of harder skills as well, not necessarily marketing related, because it's just an aptitude test for all workplaces, but it gives you an idea of what your strengths and your weaknesses are. And it's a really great test. I think there's quite a lot of questions, so I would only sit down to do it when you have some time. I think there's maybe 50 to 70 questions in the quiz. But once you've done so, you can write down the strengths and the weaknesses that it talks about, and you can figure out a plan going forward on how you're going to lean into those strengths and maybe fill in those gaps of knowledge within the weaknesses. So I definitely recommend doing the Richard Step Strengths and Weaknesses Aptitude Test. The fourth thing is to understand your personality type and your working style. So taking a personality test will allow you to understand what type of employee and what type of manager you are. 16personalities.com is free, and it gives you a breakdown of this. Doing my personality type, I would say it's quite big of me to say this, but probably changed my life. Doing the 16personalities.com personality type, it was really easy to do. And as I said, it's free, and it's a really great way for you to understand yourself as well as your working style, because I think what a lot of people tend to do is think, oh, I'm this type of person, I'm this type of thinker. But actually, when you go away and you do the questions on a personality test, it allows you to really bring out, okay, actually, maybe I'm not that type of person, maybe I'm this type of person. So I definitely recommend going to 16personalities.com and doing a personality quiz, because it'll show you what type of thinker that you actually are. Just having a little drink. And this is a 16 personalities. Obviously, there's 16 different types of personalities. And these are the different ones that you can get. So you will either be, you can kind of be within this like analytics group, the diplomats group, sentinels group, or the explorers group. And it's just really interesting to do those. And then there's also another loads as well that I haven't screenshotted, but this was just a few that I thought was interesting to note. So once you've done it on 16personalities.com, it will then give you a list of what you are and kind of what your personality type is best. And what's really nice is doing this over time as well. So I would 100% recommend that you do this at least, I would say probably yearly, because as much as it might say now that you're a certain personality type, over time, as you age, as you experience more things, your personality type will change. Because, for example, the ones on the left are I's, which are generally kind of more introverted. So I, at the front of these, I'm pointing with my hand at the front of these, so this line and this line, these are and these are extroverted, introverted and extroverted. Can't remember what I'm saying then. Introverted and extroverted. But what I found, which was really interesting, was during the pandemic, I've always been quite an introverted and extroverted person. I'm very 50-50. And whenever I do personality types, I'm always 49% one and 51% another. Because I really like to kind of put myself out there and be like extroverted, but equally I do like to have time on my own and kind of complete my own tasks and stuff like that. But what was really interesting is during the pandemic, my 51% went introverted. So it's been extroverted probably my whole life. And then before I took the test, like maybe, you know, within my first job. And then during the pandemic, I took it again and I went introverted a bit more. So the 51%. And then I took it again recently and I'm back to extroverted again, the 51% extroverted. I think I'm actually about 52 or 53% extroverted now. So that's really interesting as well. Obviously, I've aged as time's gone on as well, but I've always been pretty balanced between the two. So I would definitely recommend doing this, because another great thing with this website is it shows you what type of worker and what type of manager you are. So you're able to then share that with, if you have a team or if you have, you know, colleagues, you're able to share that with them, and they're able to share theirs. So you can kind of understand their thinking. So if someone is particularly kind of quite logical, maybe someone's more observant, maybe someone's you know, more of a intuitive, like a thinker, that sort of thing, you can just understand that from a team's perspective. It really does help. And then the fifth thing is to find a support network. So marketing can be a really tough industry when you're facing it alone. I know I was in that position before I started Girls in Marketing, and things are always better when you do them together. So finding a supportive network that you can lean into will really help your career. The reason I originally started Girls in Marketing was because I wanted to find people who were in a similar position to me, that wanted to be friends. And what I really like about our community in particular is that as much as we are all in marketing, we are a big community of marketers. We equally have other interests that overlap and people can talk about as well, which is really nice. So I want to finish today's session with a few podcast episode recommendations, as well as a few book recommendations. I know it might have been a bit kind of information heavy, so hopefully you'll go away today and you'll do a lot of thinking, you'll do a lot of note taking, and you'll be able to find your place and power within the marketing world. These are some of the podcast episodes that I would definitely recommend you listen to. Take a picture, screenshot. This webinar is being recorded anyway, so you can come back to this part, but I would definitely recommend Using Marketing for Good with Ruth Hartnell. We also had a Unpacking Gender in Marketing episode with Lydia Infante. Equally, one of my very good friends, Gabby Mendez, runs a podcast called Talk 20s, which is dedicated to people in their 20s. She's done a few amazing episodes that are really good if you are looking to kind of find your power and place within the professional setting. Her episodes aren't necessarily related to marketing, but they are great in regards to just generally being in your 20s and professional development. She did one with Hannah Anderson, who talked about leadership in your 20s, and then also did another one around progressing in your career with the fairy job mother, who is Shoshana Davies. They're really good episodes. And then equally, I particularly recently liked, these are a little bit more different. So there's one on Stress is Your Superpower with Ollie Patrick, the Working Hard or Hardly Working podcast with Grace Beverly. I really enjoyed that episode. And then there was another one with Dr. Tali Shero, which talks again a little bit about stress, how to actually kind of manage stress in a professional setting and stuff. So these are some really good podcast episodes I would highly recommend listening to if you're a podcast fanatic. If you are someone who prepares books, or maybe you like books and podcasts, I'm very much in between the two, I would recommend these books. So we have Atomic Habits. I can never say that. Atomic Habits, apologies. How Women Rise, How to Own the Room, and The Little Black Book. So these are amazing books for a range of different reasons. How to Own the Room is great in regards to speaking, in being confident in the way you present yourself. In the actual title of the book, How to Own the Room, How Women Rise is a really good one in regards to habits, as is the Atomic Habits one, and the Little Black Book for the kind of toolkit for working women. It's a little short book, but it is a really great one, especially if you are someone who's just getting started in the world of work. I would highly recommend this book, and it's recently been added with some new chapters as well. So I would recommend any of these books. And also, if you want to give me a message on LinkedIn, we can chat more about different books. If you've read anything that you particularly enjoyed recently, give me a message on LinkedIn. I'd love to kind of hear your thoughts. I'm always looking to expand my knowledge within the book world. I'm not a massive non-fiction reader when it comes to kind of like businessy books, but I really like the kind of habit building books and ones that are just quite empowering. That's something that I really enjoy. And the final thing before we go, I just want to talk about you investing in your professional development and finding your supportive network. So that's obviously something I talked about before in relation to investing in yourself and finding your supportive network. So our membership is really great. It is one of the best places that you can possibly be. It's a place that you can stay up to date on marketing trends and industry insights. You can meet other marketers. You can attend monthly events with advice from industry experts. You can access easy to follow marketing courses and resources. You can gain extra motivation in your professional development. It is a really great place to be. Here are some of the features that you get if you want to be part of our membership. I'm sure some of you here are already part of it. It is a great place to be in regards to learning and community. So we have an extensive library of marketing templates to help you do your job or do marketing strategy better. We also have one-to-one drop-in sessions with members of our team, so you can utilize this for any of your needs in regards to, okay, I want to do a strategy or I want to do a campaign, anything like that. The one-to-one drop-ins are a great way for you to utilize that. You also get free access to our in-person community meetups in the UK. So these tickets are allocated on a first come and first serve basis. We have a range of marketing courses, both theory and practical based as well. So whatever kind of floats your boat in regards to learning, whether it's theory or whether it's more practical, we have a range of courses on a variety of different things. We recently refreshed our SEO course as well, which I delivered, and I really enjoyed doing that because so much has changed in the SEO industry. So we refreshed and relaunched that last month, and all of our members are absolutely loving those. We also do our virtual networking sessions, which are monthly. So this kind of leads into finding a community, a supportive community. I definitely recommend getting involved in the virtual networking. They come chat with us. They're very casual. They're just virtual. You can go, you can chat as much as you want. You don't have to chat if you don't want to chat. And we've actually got our first one of the month on Friday. So I would definitely recommend signing up today over the next few days and coming along to our Come Chat With Us session on Friday, because it's going to be a really great one. We're going to conquer International Women's Day, I'm sure, and talk about everything else in between. And we have monthly marketing workshops as well that are delivered by industry experts. So we tend to focus on a theme every month. So for example, last month was SEO and content, and we had an amazing guest do an industry workshop, and then I also did one as well myself. We also do what's trending sessions, which we brought in end of last year. Which are essentially just monthly sessions with our team that talk about the updates in the marketing world. So I know that it can sometimes be really difficult to get through that jargon and, figure out, okay, actually, how do I, figure out what's going on with Instagram? How do I figure out what's going on with SEO and all of these different things? So our What's Trending sessions are great because it gives you a really good understanding on what's going on in the marketing world and updates you on new trends, new algorithms, new features, everything like that. So you can do one of three things. So you can learn more by scanning this QR code on the left here. So you can learn more, you can read about the different features that you get included, everything like that. you can just sign up right now. If I've convinced you, feel free to just sign up right now at $19.99 a month, or we have $219.99 for the year. If you don't want to sign up individually, then you can pitch it to your employer to pay as well. We have a lot of people where their employer actually pays for them. As I said, it's $19.99 a month. If you are in a senior position and you have a team, I would definitely recommend getting in touch with us in regards to the teams packages that we offer, where a business pays for multiple different people within their team, but equally you may just want to pay for one person. But if you want to join us today, then definitely do scanning this QR code here. Equally, if you do have any other questions, you can email Martha at members@girlsinmarketing.com. She's happy to answer any questions that you may have about the membership, how it works, anything like that. But hopefully you can find everything you need on our website, and I've explained everything else for you today. So hopefully that was an enjoyable session. I've definitely enjoyed delivering it for you. I know that finding your why, finding your power, finding your place is something that a lot of people really need to improve on in regards to their career. And it is something that we're all working on. So nobody's perfect. Do not think that you have to go away today and be perfect, because you definitely don't. But I'm happy to answer any questions from today's session about the session or about our membership or anything else like that. Feel free to just pop it in the Q&A box, because I'm just going to add this here now. So someone said, what's the difference between your membership compared to CIM? So there are a lot of differences. Our platform is a totally new platform. It's completely self-paced learning. So we do have the option to obviously attend live events and stuff like that. But I think it's definitely a lot more interactive. But we're happy to kind of answer any more specific questions. If you are considering our membership versus CIM, then feel free to get in touch with us. But in regards to the actual learning experience, I think ours is very much a lot newer. It is always updating. We obviously have the industry experts as well, so there is a lot of differences in regards to our membership and CIM. But hopefully that answers your question, but we're happy to answer any other questions that you may have. Before I finish the session, does anyone else have any questions? Feel free to just pop them in the Q&A box. If you think of anything afterwards you want to ask me personally, feel free to just ask me on LinkedIn, or if not, you can email Martha as well. She'll answer any questions about the membership in particular, but we're happy to answer anything that you wish. Fabulous. Okay. Well, I don't think there's any other questions from today. So hopefully that's been enjoyable. It's been really great having you all on. Hopefully I will see you around in our membership potentially. It'll be really nice to see some of you join our Come Chat With Us sessions at the end of the week. If you also want to sign up to any of our other Empower Her sessions, we have an amazing panel tomorrow with a few different women in the industry. It's going to be an amazing panel, honestly, a really, really good one. So definitely sign up to that if you haven't already. And then we also have another session with Amy, who is our head of marketing, around empowering your team. So if you are a team leader, definitely come along to that. That is on Thursday. And then I'm just trying to think of my days. And then Friday, we have our Come Chat With Us session as well.